done!
Solid gunplay, an interesting story, and stunning state-of-the-art visuals. These are three of the main features on my checklist for any first-person shooter. Unfortunately, while trying so hard to tick the boxes, Metro Exodus somehow manages to just miss the mark on all accounts.
Shut up! I can't believe this. Just can't. Shit!
The game takes place 7 years after the events of Metro Last Light, and once again sees you take in the role of Artyom, a comically silent protagonist, in the midst of trying to survive post-apocalyptic Russia. But for the first time in the survival horror series, 4A Games lets you explore the surface of the desolate world above the Metro, and my god, is it gorgeous. The graphical fidelity on display is something extraordinary. Scenic environments are beautifully crafted and masterfully lit. Particle and weather effects are pretty sublime, and the visual overlays on your damaged and dirty gas mask really add that final polish so many games tend to miss. Every new area I explore, I am continually awestruck by what I'm presented with. Character models are equally stunning. The detail of each character's costumes, hair, and skin textures are unrivaled in an FPS. However, if we're talking about how well the game is modelled, we quickly hit Metro's first hurdle, as sadly, the animations are terrible. Facial animations are somewhat non-existent, there seems to be no muscle structure to anyone's face, and each character looks dead behind the eyes. When multiple characters are on screen, their animations look almost out of sync with one another. In an era where performance capture is so common, this stands out as being particularly substandard. And when in juxtaposition to the fantastic character models, looks even nastier. It meant that for every moment I was impressed by a visual element, I was very quickly disappointed by a dodgy lip sync or an awkward movement from an ally.
A few more scars and you will be completely irresistible to any woman.
As an extension of this, vocal performance leaves something to be desired. In most cases, it feels as though each line has been recorded separately and cut together to make one complete section of dialogue. It's like the cast has never even met, and their lines not recorded together. This means any conversation lacks any form of chemistry and creates multiple scenarios where the tone of voice doesn't coincide with the events in question. In most cases, it's quite distracting. Metro's story isn't particularly special either. The 15-hour or so campaign sees you travelling across war-torn Russia on your train, the Aurora, on an attempt to find safe haven. You're supposedly rewarded for playing passively, in a first-person shooter, as there are multiple outcomes dependent on your playstyle. The more violent you are, in a first-person shooter, the more negative your story outcome shall be. This feels completely redundant, however, as all enemies attack on sight and the game is brutal. I can't remember the last time I had to drop a game down to easy, but if I hadn't, I'd still be wandering around the first area with no ammo, no health, and no clue of what to do. While we're on that subject, quest design is somewhat flawed in the sense that you are never clearly told what you should be doing. You can check your map for your objective, but figuring out what the objective entails is purely guesswork. There were countless times I'd be left circling for ages before eventually realizing there was a button I could press. That being said, the longer I played the game, the more obvious the tasks became, in that they are the same. Every mission has the same structure: go to a place, turn on the power, open a gate, and collect a thing. Repeat. By the end of the game, I was quite honestly bored. Never have I said the phrase, "Are we near the end yet?" so many times during a game before. More positively, however, the game's mechanics are fantastic. Gunplay feels swift and responsive, each gun handles differently but accurately, and most importantly is a whole bunch of fun. Of course, gun degradation strikes again, with my gun only ever jamming in the middle of an important boss fight, but this is more a result of my poor resource management. You can use your backpack to craft ammo and health, etc., and workbenches dotted around the game allow you to upgrade and repair your weapons and armor. The only major issue here is you are limited to how much ammo you can carry, whereas every enemy you encounter seems to have an infinite amount, resulting in my feeling of being very outgunned in every combat situation. Metro Exodus does well in creating a beautiful world full of varied enemies and solid gunplay, but its repetitive nature, poor performances, and incredibly slow pace stops the game from ever getting up to speed. Although the game gave me something to do for a week, I have no desire to pick it up again, and even if I did, the decent graphics alone wouldn't be enough to drag me along for the ride.